friends. How are you doing today? Welcome to my video. I love you. Just having a moment of self-actualization and wanted to share it. Who are we? What are we? And what are we not? Who are we? What is it? What is indigenous and what is essential to our spirit? What are the fruits of our spirit? And what are the things that keep us from realizing and actualizing those fruits to the fullest? This is the subject that I think we should teach in school. We should teach this, and we should be talking about this perpetually, constantly, if we're not actually doing it. Because even though we are living our lives in a limited capacity, and we're only expressing a very sort of minimal degree of our identity, talking about it helps a lot. And if we were talking about it all the time, then we would go faster, I think. I think it would help us to contact our true identity much faster. And I'm going to say something that hopefully isn't too provocative, but you don't know who you are. You don't know who you are. I don't know who I am. Yeah, we don't know who we are. Okay, so that being said, what we do know about us is that we have a common core. All human beings have a common core. We have something inside of us that is the same, that is never changed. It's been the same since the beginning, and it'll be the same after this world is over as well. And that life that is in us, that spark, that flame that is in us, consumes all delusion and deception that we allow it to. So there is something that we can be sure of. And that is like just being as sure as the sun will shine, and that the seasons will change, and that the ocean will continue to wave. It's something that if we just focused on, and no matter what our age, no matter what our gender, our race, our educational background, our status, or anything, if we all just focused on the essential reality of what we are, the essential essence of what we are, the core of what we are, then it wouldn't take maybe too long, maybe like a couple of years or something. If enough people were doing it, then we could all like have this huge remembrance of what we are and of who we are. Doesn't that sound exciting? Don't you want to know who you are? Don't you? Don't you want to know who you are? Like, don't you want to know who your lover is, who your mate is, who your friends are, who your family members are to you, in your life? Because all of the people that you're with right now, all the people who are around you, those people are not new to your life. Okay, you guys have gone through this journey many times together. Because I think I explained this in another video, but a human earth life is only about 100 years. But when you go to heaven, you're there for about 500 years. So this is the normal cycle: 100 years on earth, 500 years in heaven. And all the people, we all roll together. The people of that 100-year span pretty much roll together. Now, I do remember learning that you can spend less time in heaven depending on how much you sleep down here. If you don't sleep a lot while you're here on the earth, then your time in heaven will be shorter. So yeah, the more you sleep down here, then, the more healthy and normal interim that you have between lives. So what I'm saying is that all the people in your life are a part of your karma. They were already in your life before. Your children already know you and you know them. Y'all know each other already. Your parents, same thing. Your friends even, if those are your peeps, and even a lot of your blood relatives that you may not relate to a lot, but for some reason they're a part of your circle. and it's because of karma. Okay. Now, this can manifest in beautiful ways where you discover beautiful things about them. And it can also manifest in scary ways too, because you can realize that, oh, this person was my enemy in a past life. That is a thing as well. So I think that has been overemphasized. It's overrated. It's not as scary as all that, because as long as you go into any situation with the right frame of mind, which is in this case healing and reconciliation, then you can't lose. Okay? You and the other person can't lose. You can trust each other because you're both in it for the same reason. And your reason is healing and truth and knowledge of self. So our enemy, which is only part of our humanity that's sick. There's a part of our humanity that represents a cancer, represents a disease of the organism, but we can heal that. Any disease can be healed. Any disease can be healed. God did not make the cancer, okay? God does not maintain the cancer or feed the cancer. The cancer will die if we take care of our body and make our body unfit for a cancer to thrive in. That's just all there is to it. And by the body in this time, I mean the mental body, our consciousness. If we make our consciousness healthy and whole enough, then there's no cancer that can thrive in it. So we don't have to be afraid, that things are scary sometimes, if we have enough confidence and enough courage, because courage, I think, comes from confidence sometimes, even if it's past life confidence, but you have to have confidence in order to trust, and the person that you really need to trust is yourself, because no matter what happens in your experiences in life, yourself is the one who's going to make it or break it for you. Yourself is the one that's going to make it have a wonderful memory and you had a good experience, or yourself can screw it up and mess it up and take it for granted. So we have to trust number one, we have to trust number one, first of all. And so that means your individuality. That's the first person that you trust. That's the first person that you trust. Prior to that, you trust God. So God first and then yourself, okay, to trust. And you have to convince yourself that you're trustworthy. So I'm not saying it's just an easy thing to do, to trust yourself. For some people it might be, but some people know that they might be a little deceptive, or, their healing level isn't quite up to some other people's that they may have seen. You have to still try. You have to. There was a time when I wasn't really trustworthy towards myself, but I started to want to be, and I started to affirm that I could be trusted, and I started trusting myself. And then after a while, it just became this realization that you have to trust yourself first. You can't trust anybody until you trust yourself, and you can't trust yourself until you trust God. So you have to first find the glory in God's work, because God is karma. On this earth, it's represented as karma. And that is that's everything. All of the activities, all the events, all the things, all of that is a manifestation of karma, our everyday lives. So we have to learn how to appreciate that first. We have to be in love with karma. Okay, so that we can be delighted by it, because it is delightful. It's only when people start trying to mitigate karma and trying to block karma and trying to make decisions that are going to delay karma, or things like that. As long as people are not doing that, as long as you're fully in the moment and fully visually, acute, and you're acute in your senses as to your experiences, then you can see the glory in it. Usually, I think, if you have a clear head, or at least you can try. You can take a step towards it and try to see God's glory. That's the first thing. If you can see God's glory, you can see karma, and you can smile about it and be delighted by it. Oh my gosh, this happened just at the right time, stuff like that. Or, oh my gosh, this was really hard and painful, and I hated it when I was in it, but you know what? I'm so much stronger and better because of it, and I thank God for it, because it's karma and it's beautiful and it's glorious. Oh, thank you, Lord. It can everything that I see, I try to appreciate the beauty of it. I try to appreciate the glory in it, because I know it's karma and I know it's God, and I know that I'm supposed to recognize it. You know, I never want to just become desensitized where I don't actually acknowledge, you know, things in this experience as karma, as God's will, as glory. So that's the first step. But then the second step is to trust yourself. And after you have appreciation for God and for karma, then you can trust yourself, because you know that you are a product of that. That is your essence. Your essence is God. And your behaviors and your decisions and your mind is based on karma. And karma is complex, you know, but I think essentially karma is well, it's whatever you make it. It's whatever you put out there. And the mature attitude is to say, okay, I know that in my past I may have been blocked, or I may have done harm to someone. I may have been violent or whatever. So I'm going to have to face that again. I'm going to have to, because you are. That's what karma is. Karma is everything you do, everything you think, you feel, you say, all of you, you will face that, and you're going to encounter that in your life. And when you do encounter it, you don't want to point the finger at the other person and say, you're violent, your mind is closed, you're petty, you're this and that, because it's just your karma. It's something that is showing you what you did and how you believed. So if we can get a higher understanding of that, then we can trust ourselves after that, because then you don't feel afraid of karma. You don't feel afraid of anything that you encounter. It might feel really nervous and scary. You know, sometimes I feel really nervous, like, oh God, you know, oh, this would be scary. If there wasn't the knowledge that that's just myself coming back, you know, to me. Because you get what you give, you know, whatever you put out there, it comes back. So the more you can recognize it, though, then the happier you will be, and the more excited you'll be to be a human being, because you realize that you really are in control of your life. You are literally creating your life every moment of the day, everything you do in every way, you know. So you always want to do your best. So that's one aspect of it. And then, you know, after you can trust yourself, then you can trust others. You know, once you realize God's glory, and it has to go in this order. You realize God's glory, and then you realize your own glory, and you can trust yourself entirely, even when stuff feels kind of sketchy. And then you can trust other people. You can see the glory and the splendor in other people. So that has to be our religion, okay? For a peaceful society, for a progressive society, for a society that functions well, where people are cooperative, where there's plenty of everything for everybody. We have to love what we really are, instead of focusing on all of the distortion, okay? Because what we really are is that we are that hierarchy, okay? We are all one spirit up in heaven. That's the Christ. That's what we are. That's our essence. By the time we get down to the world that we ourselves enters into, we are our persons, you know, our bodies and stuff enters into this world of delusion and confusion and wow and blah, and look over here and lots of violence and, you know, just all kind of crazy, like distraction, like everything is like, ugh, like now, you know, oh, you got social distance, you got to wear a mask, oh Black lives matter, you know, it's just like, it's infinite, you know, just distraction, like distract you, you know, so that you can't remember who you are, and so that you'll even fear who you are, because some people love all that distraction and stuff. I call it a magic show. I think it's a lot of lights and cameras and explosions and, you know, mirrors and just an effort, an immense, crazy effort by the sick part of our humanity to convince the rest of us that we're sick, but we're not. Okay, they are. The ones who are performing all of that magic and all of that wizardry, and it's dark, okay? Those people are sick, and they think that they can trade places with us, like they can convince us that we're sick, so then when we believe that we're sick, then they feel healthy. That's messed up. You know, they're using us. They just like try to use us for slaves and stuff. And that's exactly what slaves were. You know, slaves are happy people usually. You know, the poor people, the humble people are the happy ones. and the you know, the satanic elite or whatever, they are not happy people at all. They are miserable. And so they feed on us, and they feed on our happiness, and they feed on our joy. So I'm saying we need more of it. We need a lot more of it, because the more happiness and joy that we have, the more they can feed on it. And the more happier and the more peaceful and calm and serene and assured that they become. So they don't have to work so hard against the human race, but realize that they too are human, and that we are all worthy of being here, and that we are all worthy of God's glory and respect for each other, for ourselves, for our environment, for all of the life forms that God has made. I know it's a little advanced for the satanic elite, but you get my drift. You know, it's up to us, the normal people who are not the Illuminastis, because you know those people, and they know they're nasty. Okay, so I'm not saying anything behind their back, anything that they don't already know. I would like to see some of them not be nasty. You know, I would love to see more of them, and I have seen some. I've seen a few on the internet who have changed their life. I've seen quite a few who have changed their life and tried to do good, you know, and tried to be helpful and not destructive. So, but you know, for the most part, like the parts of our humanity that are not well can be healed by us. All we have to do is love. You know, that's all we got to do. We have to love. We have to open up to love and let it flow through us every way that we can, and really be loyal to that. You know, always choose love every time if you have a choice, which I think you probably almost always do. I love you. Bye.